Captain's Log, January 30th, 2026. Hello, I'm Captain Vine. Good on you! You've made it to Friday. How was my week? It was alright. Some tidbits. I always ask, how's my week doing? Or I always ask myself in place of the violence how my week's doing, but never the violence, because I don't want to garner a parasocial relationship. But I figured I'd make it's always, how is this, but never how is, or it's always like, who is this, but never how is this, that joke. Oh, who's the killer, but never how is the killer. Some, I don't know, satirical whodunit, whatever. Hopefully that's the worst joke I make in the show. Can only go up from here. Oh well. I got quite a lot to get through. I wrote some stuff down. I got quite a large talking point. It's a bit of a melancholic talking point. But I'll go through my week. So, I'll go through something I didn't mention last week because I forgot. So, I said I forgot to... I was trying to remember the final talking point last show. Couldn't remember what it was. Did remember now, because it's happening tomorrow. Captain Vile has somehow managed to acquire gainful employment at a luxurious establishment, yes. It's one you may know well. It's McDonald's. Yeah. I'm going to film school, by the way. Oh well. It is not the most glamorous work, because I've worked in fast food before, if you are a long-time violent. So much so that it predates Captain's Log. I don't know... I think it's at the very beginning of Bread, the video series where I play with my friends. Because one of the stories is a Dairy Queen story. One of the first episodes is me telling a Dairy Queen story to Jason. But I've worked in fast food before. There are some interesting tidbits. So this ought to be an anecdote gold mine. Oh well. I also complained about it a lot on Twitter because I always use that as like more of like a digital journal than an actual like place to interact with other human beings, and I think that's a pretty good use to it for it because from how I've heard people talk about Twitter, it seems like no one on there is someone you want to talk to. So I just kind of essentially complain into the void, similar to what I'm doing now. Oh well. But working first shift is tomorrow. So I had an interview, and then that went well, obviously. And then I had a meeting day where it's like going over, I don't know, like HR stuff, some nonsense. And the interesting thing about that was the effort that was gone through to present it. So I don't know if any of the violence of... someone has read Kafka. Someone listening to this right now has read the works of Franz Kafka and is aware of The Castle, which is a book from him. One of the few novels he wrote. He primarily did short stories. Starting over my damn words. I prefer the short stories, I'll be honest, but the novels are good. So there's a scene in The Castle where Kay, the main character, speaks to okay, I guess I gotta explain what The Castle. The Castle is about a land surveyor who gets hired by this kingdom to survey land. Except he doesn't know who hired him, and he doesn't know why he was hired. And is trying to find that out. But there is so much red tape in this village that he's come to that like he spends the entire book trying to find the person who hired him, and eventually gets like married. Because it takes him so long to get an appointment. It's pretty funny. Anyway, there's a scene where he meets a record keeper who shows him the records of all... Well, I guess... Hang on, I might have misspoke. He knows who hired him. The Count hired him, but he's trying to find the Count. Anyway, it shows him all the records relating to his hiring. And it's this massive room filled to the roof, from the floor to the ceiling, filled with documents. And he's like, wow, I didn't realize that this job was so important. And the record keeper says to him, I'm paraphrasing, but he says, oh, no, this isn't important. It's just caused a lot of work. Which is how I felt about this meeting. Because it's like, I walk in, and it's a huge room. And there are 3 tables set up in a way that it makes a U. And there's like 50 seats in total. So this is a massive conference room with, excuse me, a huge screen, because it's like a conference room, that I'm sitting like 5 feet to the right of. Because I'm sitting at like the tip of the U, and then the manager is sitting at the other end of the U. So we're facing each other, and the screen's to our side. But it's just an empty room with like 2 people in it, so this could have been done in like the back of the store, but no. Well, I guess it was a pretty long meeting, so that would have been kind of annoying. But they had the huge screen, and part of that was I had to download an app, so they got like a QR code, and I just walked over and pulled my phone out and scanned. But it was just odd, humorous, but odd. All that for one guy. And I forgot to mention this when telling the story to my parents. There was because I was struggling with the Wi-Fi, so it took a while to download the app. The manager just point blank asked me, so do you know anything about like AirPods or Bluetooth? And I looked up at her really confused, and she pulled out this like AirPods case and said, my friend got me these, but they're not connecting to my phone. It's an Android. Is that going to stop it? And I said, I have no idea. And they shrugged and put them back in their pocket and was like, well, I figured I'd ask. So how's the download going? So, a bit of a... I would say that's a surprisingly human moment. It was as comedic as it all was. It was very... I don't know. It was like a breath of fresh air, because job hunting sucks. Especially with AI, which I'm not gonna... This was not the melancholic talking point I had in mind, so I'm not gonna, like, stay on it too long, but man, seeing the same, like, regenerating, or just... regurgitated was the word I meant to use when I misspoke. Regurgitated, like, pre-typed email of, like, thank you for your interest, but unfortunately, so-and-so, blah, 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 blah. You don't get the job. Over and over and over again. And even there was some of that in, like, the applying to this particular McDonald's. And then, like, just going face-to-face with another human being and having, like, an unorthodox, I suppose, frankly, unformal, but welcome interaction. Is quite nice. So, another... I'm gonna admit this is an odd thought I had, but this is while doing like online training. You know, if you like, there's like training videos, but they're animated, and they're animated in such a way that it is specifically designed to not have any soul. It is bland. Every character is just blankly staring at you, smiling, or blankly staring at the camera and smiling as they explain benefits and like their no tolerance policy for like ageism, sexism, what have you. Just don't be a bad person. And I was so bored during all of this. Like, I was taking it in, but I was just thinking, like, man, this is pretty monotonous. And I was so bored during it that I had to come up with crazy ideas just to entertain myself. And it struck me that all these bland animated characters, all these vacant smiling faces, are humans, which means that within their little just carefree world, they would reproduce like humans. So I wondered, are they born smiling and happy? Are they just come into the world covered in blood, without a care, just happy to be there? Is the mother expressing any emotions other than just, this is a pleasant day, I'd love to explain our company benefits to you? So that was a jarring mental image I had whilst watching them, but I couldn't shake it, so it was pretty funny. As I'm explaining this, I'm realizing I forgot to mention what movies I watched this week. My bad. I'm 10 minutes in and we haven't mentioned the free films I watched. Oops. Alright. So, what I watched this week was my father's pick, A Matter of Life and Death. I gave this 4.5 stars and said, using color to separate the living and dead works quite well, especially during the scenes where the transition is fading. The sets get more and more stunning as it went on, but the opening still stands out when compared to what comes later. So it's a quite nice film. I believe it inspired aspects of another film I quite like, Wings of Desire, because it's about angels interacting, well, trying to interact with the human world. Well, not interacting, but really just kind of supervising. But one angel wants to join the human world, and they're separated by color. So we'll see the angels black and white, and the humans are in color. Excuse me. I keep burping. I had, like, a snack before doing this, and maybe I should have not done that, but it's a long show. I should probably have gotten some water. I did not do that. Oh well. Matter of Life and Death. Good film. I'd recommend it. I have to say, I've forgotten the name of the character, but he's pretty damn lucky. Throughout the entire thing, he's incredibly lucky. He's lucky to be alive because of the fog. And okay, this is a spoiler. Or I can come up with an equivalent. I'll come up with an equivalent to... This isn't what happens in the film, but it's basically what happens. So he needs to find a lawyer. And then suddenly, one, which he's very familiar with, just falls into his hands. Right at the 11th hour. He has one. So... I'm not saying he doesn't have any agency. He's fighting heaven, trying to remain on Earth. But part of that fight is luck, and the fact that he's fighting at all, or the fact the fight started at all, is luck. That's not that much of a criticism. I mean, it's a pretty fantastical premise, and they mention it's like, well, this has only happened once, like 6,000 years ago. Or was it 600 years ago? It was a 6 number. So it's believable that it's lucky, but I'm pointing it out. If you watch it, you might call attention to that. So, for class, I watched Last Night in Soho. I gave that 3.5 stars. I will say, Last Night in Soho, I expected this to be like 2015. It's 2021. I didn't know that. I heard about the film, but I didn't know when it came out. I just assumed it was a few years older than it actually is. It's 2021. I think I mentioned it. Whatever. Give it 3.5 stars. The lighting and music stand out and build to a well-done finale. I liked the breaking glass motif throughout, but feel some of the glass breaks way too easily for it to keep up. Or way too easily to keep it up. Because there's a scene where she brings, James home? And during his, he's got to get out of the house. He breaks a mirror by, like, bumping into it. And I know glass is a very fragile material. But, like, you hear that? Hope that picks up on the mic. I got a mirror right here. That would have broken glass in Last Night in Soho. That would have, like, broken right through, and my knuckles would have cracked. They would have been bleeding, and the glass would have cracked. I get what they're going for. It's about image and how they're seen. And I think it's a good idea, because they're trying to, like, break it. But particularly in the scene where she's, I think, at the bar, and she's, like, breaking on the glass, trying to get Sandy's attention. It breaks with the first swing. I feel like it should have broken with the second. But it, like, the first hit is what the effect of the third one should look like. So it's, I don't know. This is a huge nitpick, frankly. I'll admit that. I don't have that much to say on the movie. It's pretty good. I liked it. I don't use the heart on Letterboxd. I'm reading these, by the way. I think I've only used it like once, or a few times. I think I ought to start using it, because I've got some films that I rate low, but I did enjoy. I think that'll make me feel a lot better about rating them low, because like last week, I probably should have given Dust Bunnies 3 stars, but a heart. Because it's all style, no substance. But I liked it. So maybe I ought to start doing that. Because like every one of these is like no heart. For the 5 pages of, like, I gave, like, looking back at my first reviews, I gave Porco Rosso a heart. And that's like the only one. It's a good movie. I think this is not what I watched, but Spirited Away is a little overrated as a Ghibli movie. I think there are better ones. It's pretty good, but I don't think it deserves the praise it gets. I do think the stage production of Spirited Away deserves the praise it doesn't get. That's an underrated one. It's pretty, like, I saw a clip of it. It was crazy. Okay, back to actual movies. Daybreakers. This was my pick for the week. I said, it's 3 stars. Charming film, but there's not much here. The coloring was nice, with red always being present in the blue of the vampires, and humans being orange for sunlight. I wish more was done with people turning into bats. Even just a scene of someone flying around done as a 2010 CGI would have been nice. Because there's noticeable CGI in this, but it's 2010s. It's got some charm. That the 2010s movie, like, I'm so fond of the mid-budget CGI lighting. Because there's a scene where they're, like, getting rid of the turned vampire bat people, and the brother of the main character reacts to it, and that's CGI lighting. But it's... oh, I find it delightful. It reminds me of video games, frankly. Like, maybe Metal Gear Solid Rising. Not Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. It reminds me of the lighting in that game. Quite like it. The animations for some of the cars as well. I think it's only visible during, like, a chase scene that's pretty early on, but it's visible, and I like it. So I probably should have given that one... I don't know if I'd give that one a star. I think I'm just giving the animation from the 2010s in general a heart, because it's charming. It's got character. This film does have character, but it's not very much. It's similar to Dust Bunnies. It's style over substance. The style's pretty good, but it wears thin. I did like the kind of... I don't know if anyone uses this as actual, like, recommendations for films, but I'm gonna mention a scene. So there's vampires eating each other. That's the finale. And it was like they eat someone, and then the person who just ate someone gets eaten by someone else. which was quite a funny kind of like effect. And then there's just like 3 guys left, and this crowd of dead bodies, which I knew was going to happen as soon as as soon as the second wave of people started getting eaten. I called it, like, oh, that's an interesting, like, what's going to happen when there's only a few. Anyway, at the letterbox, I'll probably start doing hearts to show I actually liked the film, instead of just doing the very formal, I think it gets this. Excuse me. Again with burping. I think I may have to go run and get some water. I don't really want to do that. It's not going to take that long. I don't have a sink in this room. However, I don't think I could drink from the sink in my old apartment. You know, there were signs that said you can't drink the tap water. But they had a sink in the back so you could, like, brush your teeth. Whatever. Bit of a longer beginning to the show. I mean, that was mainly because I feel as though it's taken much longer because I did something I do at the start of every show 20 minutes into it, when I was already going on about, like, my new job. So, one interesting tidbit from the week is I had to get non-slip shoes. So, a few months ago, my father gave me some money to buy shoes because apparently the shoes I wear now are held together by threads, despite the fact that I can still walk in them. Well, I actually did spend that money. Hopefully my father, who watches or listens to these, doesn't find what I'm saying too smug. But I bought non-slip shoes for work. So I did spend the money. It just took me a while. But to do so, I had to... So I looked up shoe stores near me, and was like, okay, this is the nearest shoe store to me. So then it says, oh, there's a number by it. So I called the shoe store to ask if they had non-slip shoes. And the phone's ringing, and rings some more, and continues to ring, until suddenly, we're sorry, we're not available right now. Please leave your tone at the beep. So, if you happen, by some miracle, to work at a shoe store in my area, then I apologize for that you had to hear the following. What kind of damn shoe store has a voicemail? Wait, that's probably rude. Sorry. And then I hang up. So hopefully you got a kick out of that. But the next shoe store I called did take a while to pick up. I was going to say, am I going to get 2 voicemails in a row? But no, they actually did. They picked up. And over the phone, they were like, yeah, you can take a better look at the shoes from our website. So I think that was the lady giving me some customer service approved sass, because it's like, buddy, it's 2026. Why are you calling stores? It was effective, but it's probably it's an old, as it were, technique. But hey, it worked. I just said that. I'm being quite redundant in some of my comments about comments. Oh well. It's the long show. I can stretch it out by repeating myself or commenting on my comments on my comments. It's what you're here for. Alright, I got one more thing about my week, and then I can get into the actual talking points. So, I've been waking up earlier last week. I mean, I'm still waking up early, but, like, it's a more manageable time. I get up at, like, 6 a.m., not 2 a.m. And I find that's a pretty good time. I can get to bed, like, 11 or 10, and then wake up at 6. And that's fine and dandy. And I go on a walk during this while the sun's coming up, so I can watch it. Because I can't quite watch it from my house, because all the trees block it. So I go into, like, the town not the town square, but there's like a town park area that is on my way to school. I pass by it almost every day. And almost every day, when I pass by it at like 8:45, there's a huge crowd of pigeons pecking at the ground as if someone has fed them, but there's no one around. It's just them eating. And I always wonder, wonder who's doing that. Wonder who's feeding the pigeons. But I never stick around to find out. I always just kind of look at them as I pass by. Maybe if there's a large number of them, I'll take a minute or two just to observe them. Because I like pigeons. I know there's the, oh, Captain, I hate animals vile, but I do enjoy birds. And some fish. If I were to ever get a pet, it would probably be a fish. With a huge tank and a bunch of, like, submarine models. Not, like, buildable models, but, like, those at the fish store. You know, like, the castle and, like, the skull and whatnot. I'd get those, but they're, like, sunken ships. Anywho. I like looking at the pigeons when I walk by. When I'm, like, running a little late, and the pigeons have finished off the bread or whatever it is, or we'll get to that, actually. They go up to the rooftops, and I look up and make sure I'm not about to walk into a pole, but I look up at them on the roofs, and then cross the street. But, since I was early today, I was able to see the guy that feeds the pigeons. It's an old man. Now, he feeds them bread, which I didn't see the brand it was, but it didn't look like wheat bread. I don't think it was white bread, because it wasn't white. So it might have been sourdough. Which you should not feed to pigeons, because it'll swell up in their stomach and they'll die. You should feed them bird seed, which is it's better for them. Or just seed in general. Birds eat seeds. So, I didn't lecture the guy on this, I just walked by. So I suppose I am somewhat responsible if I happen to notice a decline in the number of pigeons when I walk by. Then that'll hang over my head. Having said all of that, I mentioned a few shows ago that I know it was one of these Captain Slots. I mentioned I'm actually a large fan of the FNAF series, the Five Nights at Freddy's. Now, there's a game in that series called Ultimate Custom Night. And there's a character in that game by the name of Mr. Hippo. So, some context for what the hell I'm talking about, violins who don't know anything about FNAF. It's a game where you get jump scared by Chuck E. Cheese animatronics. But in this game, after you get jump scared, they have a snide little comment about you dying. And it's like a second. It's one line. But Mr. Hippo has 3-minute rants where he'll talk about going to the park with his friend. And he's got 11 minutes of voice lines in the game. You can go on YouTube now and see just what you can listen to him yourself. I think he's pretty funny. And boy, do I feel like him now, because he has this exact point. Oh, you shouldn't feed pigeons sourdough bread, it'll swell up. He says that verbatim, sourdough bread, it'll swell up in their stomach, you should feed them birdseed. and what's old Captain Vile doing now? Why, he's talking. Excessively. Which is what Mr. Hippo does. So, I don't know. Funny, but I quite liked it. I don't have too much else to say on that, just that, oh, that's an odd moment where I somehow embody a character I like. Now, as for the talking points, look at that, almost an even split if I'm able to talk about this for half an hour. Maybe I'll come up with something later on, but we've talked about my week for half an hour. Now, let's talk about things I want to talk about. other than my week. And you know what? Maybe I oughta... Okay, I can just edit. I'm going to go get some water. Alright, I got my water. I drank my water in the period of time in which I fetched it that I edited out. But I still have a bottle of it. Just took a few sips. Quite refreshing. I recommend, if you are listening to this, to go get something to drink. I presume you, I don't know, might listen to this with some kind of conviction, but do so with some water as well. Not just some soda or some tea or any other beverage. Water. Straight water. You need it. Anyway. Talking points. Last show, that's the second callback to last show. I had unfinished stuff there. But I had mentioned that I saw the channel as an amusement park during my apology for having forgotten to record the show before our last show. Or been unable to. I want to expand on that. This isn't going to be a very long talking point. It's one more comment about what the channel characters are. Where it's like... So I said last... I see the channel as an amusement park, because I like amusement parks. Where the older videos are rides you can currently go on. The Ferris wheel and roller coasters and whatnot. They are there whenever you want. But the current series, such as at time of talking, Dark Souls 2 and Subnautica, Below Zero, and I suppose this, but this isn't going anywhere time soon, are the feature attractions. They're like the characters come out on stage. I guess it's like Disney World. This is Darth Vader coming out on stage and he's dancing around. That's what the current videos are. And then the animations, the channel characters such as MD Upname, Golden God, and Diamond Eye Kevin. Those are like the like character actors and the mascots. They're just walking around the park. You can take a picture of them. You can throw your empty can of soda at them and then pretend to be on your phone, and they won't know who threw it because you were standing in a crowd of like 50 people, and then they'll complain to their boss or something, and then nothing will happen. I've not done that. I have not done that. I've never been to Disney World or Land. I just figured you could do that. But that's the additional comment. But that led into another thought process I had about Disney World and Disneyland. I'm going to focus on Disneyland. I don't know where one or the other is. I think Disney World... Excuse me. I think that was the water instead of the snack I had before recording. But I think Disney World is in California, and I think Disneyland is in Florida. But I've never been. I've only seen videos where, like, families fighting each other at one another, or at one of the parks. And there's, like, gangs and whatever. Disney World is all fake. Everything about the park is fake. Even the rocks are fake. Everything is artificial. But everything has been made for Disney World. So yes, everything is fake, but it's all pure. And what I mean by that is, to emphasize my further point, it's been made for Disney World. The rock that you walk by that is made to look in a certain way to fit in with the other rocks that are made to fit in with that rock have been made for Disney World. You're not going to find them somewhere else. That's a Disney World rock. That's a Disney World character. That's a Disney World brick that has been placed in the path that you're walking on. It's all in service of creating the illusion. Now, granted, it's been a bit diluted over time, but at the beginning, at the beginning of Disney World, and within the first maybe few years of it being open, it was everything that Walt Disney had ever wanted it to be. Maybe he might have compromised on how some of the rides went because of safety, or like budget or what have you. But it was essentially his soul in physical form that you can walk around in. It was his being. Every stone, every like building placement, every like line formation, it's not just a straight line, it's actually like a zigzag, or anything in the park. Anything bar the weather. The clouds are real. He can't put up a huge dome and paint them to look like Andy's room from Toy Story. But it's all fake. It's like a stage. And I think there is something somewhat beautiful about that. Of being able to completely... My roommates are talking about there's a spider in the kitchen. There's something beautiful about if you're, like, paying attention. And, of course, like, now, while I don't really think this is what Walt Disney would have wanted his park to be, because, like, he's not here. But when he was, and when he was in, like, full control, and before maybe some expansions, it was, as I said earlier, it's his soul. It's his vision of the park. It's his vision of himself. I wonder if I could ever make something like that. Because as I said earlier, I see the channel as an amusement park. So it's, like, somewhat myself in, like, digital form. Of course, not, like, perfectly. But that would be interesting. I wonder if I don't know. I've been tinkering with Blender. So, what if I made, like, a Vile Isle amusement park, like, map, and put it out, and you could, like, walk around it or something. And be like, oh, here's the D character. I can throw a rock at him. Oh, here's the roller coaster, and the carriage is designed to look like a shark or something. Maybe. Probably not, I'm gonna be honest. I'm a little busy at the moment, and that seems like a very large project, but it's maybe something I could chip away at whilst relearning Blender. Now, the other talking point I have is that amusement park one was a little shorter than I anticipated it to be. Because how I write these down is I don't write like a script. I write like key points for what I want to talk about, and then I like improv the rest. So it's, I don't know, the lines I've written are bricks, and then it's just off the top of my head is the like cement that the brick goes on, whatever the hell plant. I don't know. I'm not a construction. I've never built a house. I've never built a brick wall. Whatever it is that you put the bricks on is my improv, which was amazing, by the way. Whatever it is they put the bricks on. Yeah. Anyhow, my other point. This was the melancholic point I talked about earlier. Was for the Lethal Company video that I was asked to beat Lethal Company's quota 3 times whilst playing classical music, so it was juxtaposed with me panicking over just like Voices of Spring. But one of the pieces, because I wanted to look into some pieces of classical music I had not heard yet, because excuse me again, God, it's annoying. Again, annoying. I've got a decently large, I don't know, collection. I don't really like look. Well, that's not true. I do sometimes look into it, because sometimes I gotta walk crazy. Musicians are insane people. Look into Hector Berlioz. No, I think it is Berlioz. he tried to kill his ex-wife by dressing up as a maid and sneaking into her house. And he didn't go through with it because he changed carriages and forgot the poison and the gun. I'll get into that another time. But I wanted to have music in the video that I had never heard before, so I started looking through different classical music to find some new ones. And one of those pieces was Pas de Deux from the Nutcracker, so Pasdeeux from Tchaikovsky. I think I said that completely wrong. I didn't put a little, like, explanation on how to pronounce it next to his name. My bad. Now, before I get into what the hell I'm talking about the song for, I want to talk about why the hell the song was made. Because, as I just said, I do like to look into, like, composers and musicians, and, more importantly, the history of a song and why it was made. Mac the Knife has got a particularly interesting history to it. It was the Free Penny Opera was about to go on, and the main lead, the guy playing Mac the Knife, refused to go out on stage unless he was given a theme song to be played during his introduction. So, the composer just wrote a song, not on the spot while doing the opening. He rushed one out and gave it to the band. I was like, okay, just play this. And it was Mac the Knife explaining how he murdered people, Captain McHeath. Anyway. And later, during the big band era, various people went back to it, like Frank Sinatra and the guy who not popularized it, but he did like the best rendition of it. I can't remember his name. It's not that important. He's not that important to the story. This is all improv. He sang it and whatnot, and the McDonald's... There's an emblem video about this that goes through the whole thing. It's called Mac Tonight. Because that's where the mascot comes from. But McDonald's used the song, and anyway. Music, or a particular song, is probably going to have a much larger story behind why it was made than you would originally think. And that's exactly the case with this piece. So, it was written as Tchaikovsky, we're just going to say Tchaikovsky, he was, I believe, in Russia at the time, but his sister died, and he wasn't there. So, he grieved through composing, so he wrote this to be her swan song. He imagined it as something that she would dance to as a farewell, and then as a way of saying goodbye, because he couldn't. So that's why it's got this kind of... I'm very tempted to play it, but it's 5 minutes, and I mean, I don't have that much time. Well, I got 15 minutes more, I believe. I mean, I can go for as long as I want, but I could probably go for another 15 minutes. I don't want to eat it. I don't want to... And even then, I don't want to just sit here for 5 minutes listening to it. I would implore you to listen to it of your own accord, in your own time. It's very good. Some water. But I mention all of this because whilst like listening to the song for the first time, and I've listened to it multiple times since, it resonated very deeply with me. It's beautiful. That's why I think you should listen to it, but it's... I don't know. I hesitate to say moved me, but I suppose it has. Just a little bit. Now, that's happened with classical music before, and I have an idea on why that's happened with classical music before, and with this one. It was written 200 years ago. And I feel that since the 200 years of it being written, and me having listened to it, something about being a human being has just been lost. Some change has occurred. Some aspect was either taken away or added to our lives. But just... and I'll get into this in a moment. I just can't really explain beyond that. Because I was born such late into this change that my entire worldview involves whatever it is. Like, I cannot begin to comprehend what it was. I could not possibly explain it. I couldn't even hazard a guess as to what it is, because the world as it is all I know. Like, I don't know what it was like in the 1800s. I can only see documents, but that's only going to tell you what was written down. Like, right now, in a few hundred years, it's not going to be a really good encapsulation of, like, our lives. But it's... And I don't mean to be like, oh, this sucks. It was oh so better then, because, like, we have modern medicine and, like, they don't. We have the benefits of what they worked through whilst, like, dying. Hang on, I gotta... It's easy to look at what's come before and say they had it better, since you didn't have to deal with what they did, like diseases or whatnot. But it's... I don't know, it's hard not to be intrigued by it. Like, what was it like back then that produced this music? And I'm not saying nothing has moved me but classical music. I've seen movies that have, like, particularly struck me. Yes, one of those movies was Penguins of Madagascar, alright? It's stupid, but somehow, alright? The damn purple octopus struck a chord with me. Whatever. You should not be embarrassed about what art speaks to you. I mean, you should be a little embarrassed, but you shouldn't be completely embarrassed because it moved you. That's what art is meant to do. Alright? There is some guy out there who was brought to tears by Paw Patrols. That is that's a very troubled man. But that's a man who enjoys art. Is Paw Patrol's high art? Is it good art? I don't know. But I will defend its title as being art. And its ability to move someone. Even if it's meant to move children. All right, so that's kind of I've moved away from talking about, like, gee, something doesn't seem quite right about the world as it is, but I could not tell you what it is because I live in the world as it is and only know it. To there's nothing wrong with me liking a children's movie. Oh well. I mean, there's some things wrong with it. But I still like things in Madagascar. Alright, that's all my talking points. Any last minute improvs to fill in the show? This is probably the shortest if I am to end it now. Wait, actually, hang on. I'm looking at OBS. It says 51 minutes. But because I cut maybe I'm going to hazard a guess, 2 minutes. Excuse me again. It is the water. I know it. I know that to be true now. Anyway. It's probably closer to like 49 minutes. So I can't have that be. No. So anything else I want to talk about? I did forget to mention acting today because we're doing a large project and I had to wear makeup again and get in a robe again, except this time. So the lady who did the makeup last time was sick this time, so she didn't bring the makeup, or the face paint. So this time it actually was makeup. It was specifically, I believe, eyeliner or mascara or something. They primarily did my eyes. They didn't have like a gray foundation to put it on to really make them pop. The shadows they put on my eyes and mouth, I guess. But it's still, like, people said it looked good. But my main point about this damn day, I don't know how I'd forgotten it, because it was something I dealt with, like, the whole day, is my costume is a robe, which is not even a robe. It's a huge sheet of fabric. It's essentially a blanket that I've wrapped around myself and am trying to make resemble a robe. I've got for the first shooting we did, I tucked a bit of it away and made it into like a hood, which was really uncomfortable, so I didn't do that this time. But this time I was sewn into the damn thing. So I had to like hold it from within with my left arm, and then to keep it upright, and then they got like pins and ensured that it held its position. So I couldn't take it off for the entire 6-hour shoot, and I couldn't get my left arm out of it for the entire 6-hour shoot. And the other end of the sheet was wrapped around my right arm and held pins to make sure it wouldn't go off. So I just had one arm and no knees, because I couldn't, it went I'll call it a robe to be easier, went down to my ankles, and I had maybe a foot before it would catch, and I'd run out of room to move my ankles. So when the lecturer said, "Alright, we can go to lunch now, we can go to break," I kind of it's not quite a penguin waddle, but it was very similar to that. I had the one arm. So I had my sandwich. But as the shooting went on, and as I had to be under lights for more and more time, I kept getting really hot. And I couldn't get out of the damn road. So to cool off, I during our next break, I got strawberry milk from the vending machine, which was pretty hard to do with one hand, because the hand that was free could not retract back into the robe. So I paid for it, how I accessed my wallet, I had to it would have been too awkward to go through essentially the collar of the robe where my head was. So I had to bend over and go through where my legs were and get into my pocket. And because I couldn't move my left arm because that was stuck in place. So I had to grab it with I had to get into my left pocket with my right arm whilst hunched over as if I was having a hernia or something, in front of the damn vending machine. And some people arched an eyebrow as they walked by, but what do I care? I'm sweating bullets. I just want my damn strawberry milk. So I was able to pay for it. And then I was like, wait a minute, this is a strawberry milk you get from a vending machine. It's in a plastic bottle with a screw-on cap. How do I open? So I tried to twist it with my thumb and index finger, but the damn plastic mold, because you have to break that, then you can twist off. But I couldn't do that with just my thumb and index finger. So I just grabbed the base of it and I don't know if you could make out what I was doing from the mic, but I'm doing it with the water bottle now. But I bit it with my molars and just twisted it in my hand. and then spat the cap out and just downed it. So, interesting way of maneuvering around costumes. I had a hard enough time last week with all the makeup on my face. I tried to eat in a way that didn't affect it, and now I had to drink in a way that didn't affect my costume. Oh, and as for like the makeup this time, which was, as I said earlier, it's eyeshadow or like mascara or whatever. It was put on my eyes. It was intended for my eyes, but they put some of it on my mouth. So last week, it kind of blended in with the foundation, and it looked like I was doing blackface while I was wiping it off in the sink. And I was really lucky I didn't have an audience. However, we finished at a different time this week, so the cleaning service was in the bathroom, and I couldn't exactly go to another bathroom because the nearest bathroom that is not currently being cleaned is in the library, and I don't really want to go to the library looking like like I did, because I've got a bit of a history with a librarian. I don't want to give her a third reason to kick me out. So the first reason, I guess I'll get into this. During the summer, well, not the summer, but during the prelude to the summer, as it was beginning to get really, really hot, I needed to drink water to calm down, or to cool down. But I couldn't drink from the sink. This is in my old apartment. I couldn't drink from the sink because there are signs on the sink that say you can't drink with tap water. It's just for washing your hands. And I didn't have anything in my fridge to drink to cool down, and it was 11:41 at night, so I couldn't go to the store to like buy a beverage. So I figured the library at the school is open 24 hours a day. They have water fountains in the library. I'm just gonna walk to the library at night and get some damn water and then walk back and go to sleep. Cool down. And I did. And after I had a couple, I'll try and remain some dignity and say a couple gulps of water from the water fountain in the library, and dead of night, the librarian walked over and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm having some water." I said, "Do you know what time it is?" I said, "Yeah." And so why are you here, having water? Could you leave? She wasn't very polite because there wasn't anyone else in the library she had to keep up or put on airs for. It was just us. It's like, I don't go home. So I did. I satiated my thirst at the very least. Which, I mean, I guess some random guy comes in, not random guy, it's a student. I gotta get in the damn library with my ID. But some guy comes in during a heat wave. Maybe she was annoyed she couldn't have any of the water. Whatever. This was a while ago. And then more recently, but still a few months ago, I had to do a funeral for a Suicide Squad killed Justice League, which was for a bet. Now, during this video, you can go up in the video and see the poster itself, but I printed out a it's a poorly made Photoshop, but I printed out a poster that I hung up during the wake, I suppose. But it doesn't look very good. It's not to scale. It's cropped horribly. So that's the only print I could get, because as soon as I saw the print, I was like, well, this isn't what I wanted. So I went out to the librarian, who kicked me out earlier. I was like, hey, I think, how do I, print this image in the right way? And she was like, well, what? Because I showed her the print itself. What is this? And I showed her the file I was trying to print. And then she looked at it for a few seconds, and then she looked back at me. I said, what is this for? And I said, a personal project, I guess. And then she said, Mr. Etienne, I am not amused by your antics. Please leave. And I did not get my 10 cents back for having to print in color. I only got that one. And I had to leave. I don't want to give her another reason to kick me out. Like, Mr. Etienne, what is on your face? Like, it's mascara, I guess. And then be like, whatever. I don't want to give her another reason, because I think I'm regarded as something of a troublemaker by her. I couldn't imagine why. But the point is, I couldn't go to the library bathroom to wash it off. I had to go in the bathroom that the cleaners were in. So I tried to explain to them, it's not blackface. It may look like blackface in a second, but only for a short time as I'm like washing the rest of it off. And they looked at me confused because they didn't speak English. So I think they were muttering about me like, what's this guy doing? And then they went back to, I don't know, cleaning the halls. But it came off a lot easier than it did last time. But since it was mascara, I had like, I don't know, what was it, running mascara on my face? Because I think it definitely was mascara with some eyeshadow. But I don't know, that was an interesting look to see myself with. I don't know. I wouldn't recommend it. It's not a flattering look. But I don't think I look very good in makeup anyhow, especially if it's like malfunctioning. Alright. I do believe that is everything. Is this the longest show? Hang on, it's not the longest show, but they're getting longer. Just like the beginning of Captain's Log, it was... it went from 7 minutes to 12 minutes to 17 or something. Anyway, they kept getting longer by like 5-minute intervals. So why is it always... I'm on YouTube right now. Just like you. Whenever I go to my playlist page, it's like it automatically goes to last playlist created, but I wanted to sort by last video added to a playlist. It doesn't do that for some reason. Yeah, 7 minutes, 12 minutes, 17 minutes, or whatever. Okay, 50 minutes. I'm looking at the end of the month show lengths. 51 minutes, 1 hour, 1 hour, 8 minutes. Okay, so 1 hour, 8 minutes is the time to beat here, folks. I don't think we're gonna get that. I think we're gonna be about a minute, an hour and a minute. So, looking through wikis. Oh yeah, should I? Why not? Why not try that? So, it is get little. There they are, about an hour. I do wonder. I wonder what February's show will be lengthwise. Is it going to be the shortest show, end of the month show yet, or the longest? Because it would be fitting both ways, I mean. So, there's a random article I wanted to find. Because it would be the shortest month with the longest show, or the shortest month receiving the shortest show. A random article, see if this works. Okay, so here's our random Wikipedia article. It's a Mr. Anthony O'Neill, who was an Australian fiction novelist, born in Melbourne. He was father of a police officer. Described his journey. His publication was unspeakably long, and he's complaining about it. And he wrote a couple books. Dr. Jeklle and Mr. Seek. What? Hang on. Dr. Jeklle and Mr. Seek? That's... What? Is that meant to be a... I mean, it's a play on Dr. Jeklle and Mr. Hyde, but that's in the book. That's like a... That's not a quote from the book, but it's a play on a quote from the book, where it's like... Dr. Jekyll's lawyer is like, if he is to be Mr. Hyde, then I will be Mr. Seek. Is a line in the true story behind Dr. Jekyll. It's
What a terrible name for a book. It's on Internet Archivist. It's on the Internet Archive. What the hell? 2017. This is kind of recent. Well, it's 10 years old. It's 260 pages. This is just all here. Limited page view. Oh. Yeah, no, it's some pages are omitted. I can't see any of them. I can't judge Mr. O'Neill's work to my audience. Oh, come on. Alright, here's a review. There are no reviews yet. Be the first one to write a review. Well, I can't very well do that. I could be facetious and be like, it's what a bad title. It's really getting overshadowed by the fact it's the fact that it's got Dr. Jekyll and in the title. Like it's the first, like the Amazon link is the first link, but every other link is talking about Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. What the hell is this? O'Neill. Okay, it's got 2 titles. Alright, what is... Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Seek and Destroy? Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Seek and Find? Are there sequels? They're not mentioned on his Wikipedia article. I wonder if they're still alive. He's probably still alive, but it's... I don't know. Uh-oh. Right. Circus Maximus as A.D. O'Neill. Okay. Unscratchables as Cornelius Kane? He's come up with a nom de plume. Okay, Cornelius Kane? What's this? Are we gonna get him? The Crew, 19 Crimes. What? Cornelius Doyer Kane? Doyer? Doyer is damn bizarro of me. Australian vineyard uses prisoners to sell wine. What? Okay, so his nom de plume was a real guy? I wonder, was that intentional? The Unscratchables? Let's see here. I don't know about that. But A.D. O'Neill, the Circus Maximus. I gotta find out more about Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Seek. I want to. What is a plot? What's the plot of this? No, it's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. That's not what I'm looking for. Why did you name your book this, O'Neill? Or oh, no, sorry. What was it? Cornelius Kane. Oh, what on earth? I wonder how it sold. If someone... This is like a gift your relatives would give you. It's like, I heard you're getting into classic literature, honey. So... I got you one of the famous stories, Dr. Jeklle and Mr. Seek. Oh, thanks, Gladys. Are you sure you got the right one? Well, what other one is there? Okay, well it's fine, thanks. I'll treasure it, and then you throw it away or something. I don't know, but it's who buys this? Yeah, the goddamn... There are no reviews for this product. Are there any sale? Hang on, can I look that up? Artemis Seek sales. Is that public? It's rated about 4 stars by 150 people. I guess no people bought it. 7 years after. Oh, here's the plot. This is quite a... I didn't expect this rabbit hole. Okay. The strange case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde continues 7 years after the death of Edward Hyde. I'm That's okay. I'm not gonna touch that yet. A stylish gentleman shows up in foggy London claiming to be Dr. Henry Jekyll. Only for Utterson, Jekyll's faithful lawyer and confidant, knows he must be an imposter because he killed himself. Yeah, because Jekyll was Hyde. But as the man goes about charming Jekyll's friends and reclaiming his estate, as the bodies of potential challengers start piling up, Hunter's left fearing for his life, questioning his own sanity. This brilliantly imagined, beautifully written sequel to one of literature's greatest masterpieces perfectly complements the original work. Yeah, but 7 years? Maybe if it was like a year. But 7? I don't know. Maybe they explain that. This seems hilarious. Okay. Where was I? And where the original was concerned with the duality of man, this sequel deals with the possibility of identity theft of the most audacious kind. Can it really be this man who looks and acts so precisely like Dr. Jekyll is an imposter? A strange, wondrous... Oh, here are some reviews. Fiendishly ingenious. A strange, wondrous tale, beautifully told. O'Neill infuses... Okay, I'm not doing some free publicity for Kane. I'm not calling him O'Neill anymore. It's Cornelius Kane. Cornelius Doyer Kane. Boy, what a golden article find. The first time we did this, it wasn't very interesting. It was kind of a dud. But no, that is a golden random article find. I mean, it was mainly more of a golden opportunity to dunk on some author. Who are you allowed to? Are you allowed? He did it. He made the book. He made the sequel to a book he didn't write. It's not like the author's around to challenge him and go, no. Can you just do that? I mean, I guess movies do that. There's Bride of Frankenstein. And damn, movies really do that a lot. I'm really thinking Nosferatu was like a copycat of Dracula because he's not allowed to make Dracula, so he made Nosferatu. He's done it in book form. Cornelius Kane, a pioneer. Cornelius Doyer Kane, my apologies. Okay, well that was good for a laugh. And would you look at that, I do believe this is the longest show, thanks to Mr. Kane and his antics. Oh well. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.
Stay tuned to Gotham FM.